Now we got the audio. So, Mr. Meeks, for editing this episode, you now get to put some music to this.
Goddamn you half Japanese girls, do it to me every time. All the redheads said you shred the cello, and I'm jello, baby, but you won't talk.
There we go. Can't wait to see what you do with that. Let's go. Welcome
Let's
back to
go.
Geeks. I gotta say, I've been having a lot of fun making this with you.
I've also been having a yummy, cummy old time making these. It's been great. We should redo that intro. We should redo that. I don't like the fact I used yummy, cummy as a thing.
You don't want to give them cummies?
I'm not sure I do.
You don't think they've earned it yet?
I know that's a 5th episode, maybe an OnlyFans subscription tier, maybe a Patreon if we get one of those.
I would so be down to set some kind of goal. Like,
Yep.
if we hit this, we'll make an OnlyFans.
Yeah. But if this makes it big, I will. You know what? We should make a Patreon. And I can put my feet pics on there. I could get those like gamer girl feet pics of my feet.
I got fucking hobbit feet, man. No, I don't have hobbit feet. I got clown feet. My feet.
You know who
wide.
loves hobbit feet? Samwise Gamgee. It's like, Mr. Frodo, your toes look delicious.
Oh, I didn't know you felt this way, Sam.
Mr. Frodo.
Yes.
Look at Pippin. His toes are shit compared to
agree.
yours. Hey, you want to talk?
The other garbage D-tier toes. His little piggies did not make it to the market.
He charges $5 for feet pics, and that's 10 too many, Mr. Frodo.
That's criminal. That's criminal, Sam.
All right, that was our erotic roleplay of the Lord of the Rings main cast. Welcome back, everyone, to
Someone more
Geeks.
talented than us animate that.
I
will pay you.
Dubas animate that.
I will pay you. I will find the money. I will pay you. Triple digit, something.
So, hey, did we choose a subject for today? Because I
thought it was early access.
I thought it was early access too, but I wanted to make sure, right?
Which was very. It was early access.
Which was very topical like 2 weeks ago when we planned this episode because Hades 2 had just come out.
That is true, and I've been playing quite a bit of it.
You've been playing quite a bit.
I like it. It doesn't feel like it's an early access, which is weird. I didn't participate in any of the Hades 1 development. I honestly didn't hear about it till I saw like the animated trailer at the Game Awards. But from what I know, like they took a lot from the first game's development and definitely just new and improved everything over to the second game because the second game feels so damn good to play.
Yeah. So Hades 1, the Hades 1 development I actually did follow a little bit. I wasn't playing it, but I followed people who were. And it's very interesting, right? Because Hades 2 has shipped in early access, for those of you who are living under some kind of rock or rock-like object, onto Steam in early access. In all of its, or in some of its glory. Not all of it yet. That'll release later.
The only thing I've noticed from Hades 2 when playing is that certain characters don't have their portrait. Like Charon, he doesn't have it.
Charon doesn't have his. I think Narcissus is missing his. And there's one more who has art, but it's like crudely drawn.
Narcissus, that's the guy you were talking about.
Yeah.
No, am I the only one that feels like Chrono isn't finished?
Chronos?
Yeah, he doesn't.
Oh
look
no,
finished
Chronos
to me.
looks great. I disagree. I think Chronos
He's
is
literally
perfect.
just a silhouette. Like.
Oh no, you get more of him.
Oh, I guess I haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah, once you meet him proper, you'll get more of him. And there's some cool lore stuff I'd like to talk to you about once you get to him, because there's some interesting design aspects I didn't know until I heard other people talking about it, and it was fascinating. But yeah, the interesting thing about Hades 2, right? And this is gonna sound very interesting, because Hades 2 is not shipped in early access the same way Hades 1 was, right?
I heard that at least our buddy DeCabriel, we all know who he is, really.
Yeah, DeCabriel.
Yeah,
DeCabriel,
was
the
very
decahedron.
he was very involved with Hades development, and
Well, involved as in he was following it. Like he wasn't like he wasn't
making the game.
He's not working for Supergiant.
I learn a new fact about that motherfucker like every other week, so I would not be surprised.
You could tell me
like,
literally.
I went there and I voice casted something. They just pitch shifted my voice.
You could tell me anything. That guy could tell me anything, and I'd believe it. His life is such a fracking fairy tale. Holy shit.
We love you, DeCabriel, but goddamn.
We love you.
Like,
we love you,
you need to write a book or something.
Lovu, Tribeam. $5 to anyone who gets that reference.
Yeah, let's stop distracting him from his toaster fucking. Back on topic.
Oh, we love you, bud. But yeah, so Hades 2, basically they were not going to put into early access until it had more content than like Hades 1 did.
That's
at the time.
Bold claim.
Yeah, and like Hades 1 like didn't release with like all that much on early access. So like having a little more than that is like a big improvement, especially since you already get the movement system down, you have all the characters down. And then what they actually did was not that. What they actually did is they released it with more content than Hades 1 currently has. Not early access. Final release Hades 1 has less content than Hades 2.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And having beaten the Hades 2 content that's there, yeah, it does. It does legitimately have that much content.
Damn, I haven't played it nearly as much as you have then.
Let me look.
So much I haven't. Mostly the part of it is because like I'm still trying to figure out certain patterns and like upgrade areas.
A week, I was no-lifing it.
Yeah, this is a game I pick up for like maybe 2 hours. Like
this is my go-to-bed game. This is my go-to-bed game. Like when I was going to sleep, like I would like when I was like about to get ready for bed, I'd be like, okay, time to play Hades. I currently have about 19 hours in it.
Mm-hmm.
So not as much as I thought I had, but still, I have a good amount of time.
That is a pretty decent for what it is. That's a really decent amount of time.
Yeah, especially considering this is like an early access title. Like early access releasing for $30, I already feel like I got a good amount of my money's worth. There are like a few things that are missing that I'm like, oh damn, okay, I can really feel the early access here. Some people have talked about how some of the art is unfinished. People have talked about how the balancing is a little weird.
It is weird. It feels like upscaled a little too much from when you leave the first area to the second area. It depends on your build, honestly.
And this game does not want you to pull what I did when I played Returnal, because when I played Returnal, I beat that game in 4 runs and the game fell apart. Because the game expects you to die over and over again, and because I had beaten it on my 3rd run and then beat it a second time on my 4th run, the story didn't make sense because I skipped so much stuff by not dying. So they didn't want to have that issue. So they made it pretty much impossible.
I don't know if I agree with that.
What do you mean?
I find roguelikes that allow you to just utterly break the fucking game way more fun.
Oh, no, yeah. No, don't get me wrong. Hades 2. Hades 2 does allow you to break it at points. But I
feel like it's easier to break the game with certain gods rather than others. Like in Hades 1, Dionysus was.
I am so sad.
Shit.
I am so sad Dionysus isn't in this game.
He's not? I just thought I haven't discovered him yet.
As far as I'm aware, I played it for 19 hours. I did not discover Dionysus once.
No.
So I'm assuming he's just not
he's
in there.
The homie.
I know Ares isn't in there. Dionysus isn't in there. Unfortunately, Poseidon's still in there.
Poseidon, I feel, is a lot better in this game than he was in Hades 1.
I feel like he's about the same, if not worse.
I think with the sprint mechanic now being like a real thing, he helps a lot more. Because when you get his sprint upgrade that just allows you to just shove everybody out of the way, but it also does damage, it doesn't have to make wall contact. It's really helpful, especially with a lot of cannon fodder enemies.
The problem is characters or gods like Zeus or the friggin' Fire Grandma give you such better dash abilities that Poseidon's just feels like weak in comparison. I'm like, I don't want to take this because if I get Grandma's,
he gives every weapon range because of the splash.
That is good, but I would rather just get Aphrodite's Lust's power up because that's really good. Stuff like that. But anyway, this is not the Hades 2 cast. I apologize. I'm taking a lot of this on.
It's just too good. It's
but,
just
like,
too good.
Yeah, it's super good, and it's really raised the bar for early access, which has led us to this conversation. Because
I don't know about that. I think it shows what early access is capable of if your studio is well developed.
Oh no, yeah.
Because
Don't get me wrong. We don't.
There's some crazy good success stories with early access. There's my dog in the background.
Chili.
Hey,
I love
baby.
chili.
Hey,
I love
say
chili.
hi.
I would die for chili if need be. If Chili told me to sacrifice myself for her safety, I would do so.
Hi, y'all. She doesn't
I
like
wouldn't.
when I do this.
I wouldn't even be mad about it.
You need another bath. You stink. All right, down you go.
If she told me to take a bullet for her so that she wouldn't have to take a bath, I'd say goodbye. We'd have to end the podcast. It'd be over. I love that dog.
Cute.
She's very cute. But yeah, so early access as a concept, I think we've pretty much had for like the last, like, when was the first time that really went into effect? 'Cause I know we've had like Patreon or Kickstarter backer demos and stuff like that.
I think Kickstarter was the first thing that like really started off, and I think Yacht Club Games really put it into motion of like what early access titles / like crowdfunded games could bring to the table. Because Shovel Knight shook up the indie game scene.
Well, Shovel Knight wasn't really early
hard.
access though. It was just the backer demo.
Still, it like led to like the concept that game developers could receive funding via these services.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I think what Yacht Club games did with Shovel Knight kind of built up the confidence of these indie developers to where, like, hey, there's possibilities for funding to where you can put more time into your dream project should you get the backing. Meaning early access became a thing because there was also games like Subnautica. That game was in early access for fucking years.
Yeah, that game
influencers like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, it was mostly Jacksepticeye at first. They brought a lot of attention to the game, which allowed them to get a huge player base, get feedback. Now it is what it is today.
Yeah.
But it was still in development purgatory for a goddamn while.
But, yeah. The thing about early access that is a big plus, right, is, as you said, it provides early funding of the game, and it also allows you to gauge interest. Like how many people are willing to take a look at it. On top of that, it also allows you to essentially have testers who will give you feedback on your game, and depending on how close you are with the community, you can definitely get a lot of useful feedback. Divinity Original Sin 2 is a great example of that. Or actually, sorry, Baldur's Gate 3 is a great example of that. Did you know Baldur's Gate 3 apparently had a whole system involving changing the terrain using your spells? It was going to have a whole thing, apparently, a lot like Divinity 2, because Divinity 2 had this thing where your spells could affect the terrain, which could make a lot of terrain like hard to walk on. And in Baldur's Gate 3, it apparently everyone hated it, so they just took it out of the game entirely.
I mean, there's still methods of changing the terrain, but it's not probably not
nearly
like altering it like you are. It's
no,
just
in
like
Divinity
ice
2
on the ground or like tentacle or like
there's one fight in Divinity 2 that's in like an oil field. That one stray fire spell lights up the entire arena and everyone's constantly on fire, including the NPCs you're supposed to protect. And it becomes a problem.
That's wild.
So I can understand why people didn't like it. I personally am a freak who likes it, but I can understand why not everyone was a fan of it.
I couldn't get into Divinity 2. I tried multiple times.
I love Divinity. I think I like Divinity 2 a little more than Baldur's Gate 3 still.
Maybe it's the fact that I was always playing it with other people. Divinity 2, at least its combat, is very slow.
Yeah, no, it can be. But it
that's
also
what turned me away from it. Is that I was basically like waiting for fucking ever to do something.
But it also allows you to do some like crazy hype shit when you know what you're doing. Like I had a whole build with freaking Skeleton Boy, who I can't remember the name of. Whatever. His whole thing, I had a whole build where I essentially just made him like a suicide build, what he would do is he would take your magic down. He would link your health to his. So whenever he took damage, the enemy took damage. I would cast a spell. I would then cast an elven thing to give him more points, and then use another thing to give him more points so he can keep making turns. I had him cast immortality on himself so he couldn't die for 3 turns. And then I would just make him, because his skeleton and health potions hurt him, I would just make him just down 7 potions and just insta-kill every enemy who is attached to him. Or better yet, if I had another teammate who was dead, I also had a self-sacrifice thing where he'd kill himself to revive another person. And so because he was attached to them, and the enemy, he would hurt himself, hurt the enemy, but he's immortal, so the guy just raises for free and the guy gets hurt.
Damn.
There is some goofy shit you can do in Divinity 2, and it's so much fun.
I'm not smart enough to figure that stuff out.
Oh no, trust me, it's not as hard as it sounds. Once you figure out the combos, you're like, hold on, does this work? Oh, it works.
I'm a very reactionary type of gamer.
That's right.
Meaning, I excel at platformers, action type stuff. Combos,
you want an active experience.
Basically.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I like to react more than I like to
plan.
And because it's probably also why I'm really fucking good at Beat Saber.
That's fair.
Yeah. But that being said, I can also kind of tie this back into our topic, meaning my patience compared to yours in certain video games is different. I am definitely less patient, which means certain JRPGs I'm not going to be a fan of because the combat system may be more intricate. I love Persona 5. I think that is one of the best JRPGs ever made, but it's because the combat is so flashy and fun, and you can basically wipe any screen.
Yeah, it's that problem.
Even if you're good at building or not.
RPG patience is a real thing. Because I can recommend, Earthbound is one of my top 10 games of all time, and I think, the problem is, that, meme of, it gets good after the first, 10 hours.
I hate that shit.
It gets good after the first 10 hours. That's the problem. The problem is, it's legitimately, this game's first few hours just suck ass. Until you get to the police station in Earthbound, that game sucks. And then when you get to the police station, everything after that is just uphill. Just great. Just to the moon. Awesome. Perfect game. Patience
could also be tied back to basically early access development.
A little bit, yeah. But what I was trying to say earlier with early access before I went way off topic.
Fitting for the podcast.
Yeah. It allows developers to make changes in the middle of development. Allows them to be able to pay for later things or additions they want to add. This used to be done with Kickstarter, but with early access, people are able to essentially play the game as it's being made and allow their changes to be heard. This can go for better to worse, depending on the developer. It really depends where the game is, how much support it's going to be getting, or how much they expect to get, and what the release plan is.
I actually wrote kind of a thought about early access for my next video, which is the RoboQuest reboot.
Yes, RoboQuest is actually a great example of this. I feel like we're going to have two very different opinions on.
And mechanically, yes, but the development of the game, we might end up being more similar than we thought. But
probably.
Anyway, so the point, I'm talking about it purely as time in early access rather than what mechanics are about.
Yeah,
it's about. Because I know we're going to disagree on some things with that, but I think in terms of development time, we might be on similar stances. So RoboQuest was in development for a good while. I'd say, if I had to guess off the top of my head, maybe 3 to 5 years.
Oh, definitely 5 years or more. Because I started playing it when I moved into my second apartment. So that would have been
my initial review of
at
RoboQuest
least 3 years ago.
It's about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I had to reference it, and I'm like, God damn, it's really been that long. And I played it for a year before that.
So I would say 5 years.
It's probably about 5 years.
Yeah.
But during that time, I completely forgot about the game. It'd be a game that I come back to every so often. It was like, oh, look, they updated it. I'm kind of bored. I'll do a quick RoboQuest run. And then I'd be reminded why I love the game. But then I fall back into that same pit. because the game wasn't done or content wasn't coming out as quickly as it should. And it just, I'm like, when's this going to be done, essentially?
You see,
so we as people are far less patient than we ever have been. And a lot of that is just due to like the evolution of psychology and just the utter fucking brain rot social media has given us.
I need dopamine every 10 seconds or I'll die. $5 to whoever gets that reference. I'm just going to keep saying that every time I do that, and I'm not going to honor the deal. I don't carry cash on me. We've established this last episode. I think we had the whole conversation of how I don't have cash on me, ever. You cannot rob me. I have nothing to steal.
That's smart.
Except my soul. Anyway, as you're saying.
So, basically, like how you got to keep your player base entertained.
Yeah.
Essentially, if your content updates are too slow, people are going to lose interest. If you're not responding to feedback, people are going to lose interest. But then again, I'd rather someone take their time on a game to make sure it's good rather than feed into pressure. But then these early access titles are mostly indie developers. They're just people, and they might get traction via funding on Patreon or early access purchases, but eventually that's going to come down to a halt, depending on who wants to continue to back Patreon and also how many sales you're making based off your early access. And then when you do fully release the game, you're not going to be making nearly as much sales as you would have had it been like out the oven instant hit. It's a risk. All of it is a risk.
Well, yeah.
It sucks.
It can suck a little bit. I do think there are like great examples of like what's the best time to release like your game to early access. Like I think about like Ultra Kill, right? And Ultra Kill may be a bit of a difficult example because it's a tough act to follow. If you've never played Ultra Kill, you should change that.
It's really good.
The best shooter I've played in the last 10 to 20 years. It's just that good. It is a game I feel like was made for me. Akita, I love you.
Much love, man. Your game fucking rocks, but
yeah.
Goddamn, these acts take forever to come out, but that's it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like each act, it like feels like it could have been like its own level pack for like Doom or Quake.
Yeah.
Right, and like the base, like Gen 1 Ultra Kill, like the one that like came out in early access, like that was basically the entire first 3 acts.
I picked it up right when the second act came out.
Oh, sorry. The first 3 chapters. That game came out with the entire first act done, right? And well, without the perfect levels or some of the secret levels. Those are the only things missing. But it had Cyber Grind already. It had the prologue, which is 4 chapters. It has Act 1, which is another 4 to 5. Act 2, which is like 4. Act 3, which is 2, but it's a boss. And it came with like 2 secret levels, and it's missing 1 and does not have the perfect level. That's a good amount of content for a boomer shooter to have, especially at the price they were asking for, which I think was like $20 at the time.
I think so.
Pretty good.
I paid about $20 for it.
And then
I picked it up when it was on sale.
And then multiple difficulties on top of that. The fact that Cyber Grind basically had a whole horde mode for you to play. And the demo was absurdly long. Did you ever play the demo?
No, I just bought it straight.
The demo, okay, do you remember the Hideous Mass? Like
yes.
that, like the guy with like the tail hook?
Yeah.
The demo ends when you get to him.
Oh my god.
That's like halfway through chapter 1. Or yeah, or halfway through chapter.
The game's fast pace is Ultra Kill. You kind of need to give them that length, because if you only are given one level, you can't really see how the game changes in terms of like enemy layouts and like level design. Dog,
I don't know. I played that Star Wars: The Force Unleashed demo like a million years ago, and that was basically 3 rooms and you're done. That was a 5 to 10 minute demo. Like, demos used to be way shorter than they are now. Like, demos give you a lot now.
But that was also a game being release by a AAA studio.
Yeah.
Yada, yada.
Also in the
That was-
mid-aughts, different standards, yeah.
There
But
was a
no,
lot of different standards. You were younger, different standards of quality, other things. Which
no, yeah.
I played the Sonic Generations demo a shit ton, and that was only
Yeah,
Green Hill
that was-
Zone.
What's that? Yeah, it was just a one level, right?
It was just one level is 3D and one level
Yeah,
is
one
2D
level is
Sonic.
classic Sonic, one
And
level
it was just Green
modern
Hill
Sonic.
Zone, but I played
Yeah.
the fuck out of it.
Yeah, and that's like the thing where, depending on how like I'd say like RoboQuest is a very great example of an early access release.
Mhm.
There wasn't all that much there yet, but what was there was replayable, and it was super fun.
It felt so good to play. It feels even better to play now. Like,
And RoboQuest devs, if you're seeing this, I really love you. I really wish you didn't take the color system out of the game. That was one of the funnest things I've ever done.
I'm glad that you took the color system out of the game.
Danny's
I feel
wrong.
like
Do not listen to GalicEnder.
Listen to me. You did right. I love not being restricted to certain weapon types.
I want
based
to
off
break
my
the
random
game.
Findings.
I want to change the way I play the game based on random findings, please.
No.
I love doing that though. Like I love it when a game's like, okay, you got these upgrades. I guess I'm doing an explosive round. I guess I'm just running explosives. That's gonna be my
but
build.
What if I don't want to run this and all my rolls suck? You know,
Then-
like
Then restart the run. Do it again.
I don't want to restart the run. I want to be like, I love this gun. This is cool.
Yeah.
Ooh, that gun. I want to try this gun and not have to worry about my fucking items.
But it's very easy to see like a lot of games that release in early access that do have content but are very clearly not finished and kind of never get finished.
Mm-hmm.
The Forest is a great example of a game that really feels like they rushed to the end. Like The Forest when it first came out was not all that huge.
I think what drove people to the forest was just the mystery of it, right?
Yeah, the mystery of it's so fascinating, right? Like
Yeah.
you're on this island, your kid has been abducted by some shadowy creature thing, and there are a bunch of these cannibals outside who are reacting to you differently in strange ways. There's some kind of mystery on the island.
Changing, and then you get like this.
Yes, you get like the first time you die and like you don't actually die, you just get strung up in a cave and there's monsters in the cave. It's like it's so cool, but it's so buggy and it's kind of all over the place. It kind of runs bad, and they're like, okay, well they're gonna fix that in updates, and they do clean it up a bit in the updates. They add the full story and everything, which is interesting for a survival game like that.
But then they went ahead and made the sequel, which is, like, Sons
which
of
is
Forest.
interesting because it feels like they made the sequel before the first game is really done. Like, it's fully released, it's out, I own it. It's just, it feels like there's stuff that was supposed to be there that just never made it in.
I feel like it's an experience, right? Meaning you boot it up with your buddies, you play it till you all get bored, and then it just kind of sits there and collects dust.
When you're getting
You
an
know?
early access game, right? Like you're expecting to go in. Like when you're playing an early access game, it's an investment, right? It's like I'm not paying for just this game now. I'm paying for the game I'm going to get in the future. So it's always a risk when you go into early access, and that's why you see so many people like I never buy early access games. Like our mutual friend, Dick Crabiel, has talked about how the only reason he hasn't played Hades 2 yet is it's still in early access, and I can't blame him because. I mean, like, I've definitely been burned by games that I bought in early access that never got better or somehow got worse, like, taking out the color system.
Don't you take that crap from him, RoboQuest. Don't you take that crap from him. Your game's awesome.
Well, no, yeah, RoboQuest is great. I don't want to, like, ever say that I don't like RoboQuest. I think RoboQuest is great. However,
But...
But yeah, like I think like it's not a unique experience to say I've been burned by a game I bought in early access that never went anywhere. Like it kind of just stalled out and died. And you see that a lot. Like the Power World devs, like Craftopia was apparently a mess when they announced Power World. Because apparently, like, still, like, kind of just a buggy, like, broken piece of shit. Apparently, they fixed that recently, and I'm not sure if that's true, but I read that was the case. I got
burned out on Power World fast.
Yeah.
And it
Power World is definitely, like, a game that feels like it's half a game.
And I get it because early access, but still,
Yeah.
I got bored with it really quickly.
I mean, they're constantly adding updates to it, though. Did you know they had, like a whole, like, half of their Pokedex worth of the pals?
I mean, that's great. And I'll probably hop back into it again one day just to see what's happened.
Yeah, once a novelty wears off, it's very like here's the thing, like the actual game itself.
The only reason that game blew up the way that it did is because it was finally an option opposed to Pokemon.
Pokemon with guns. Pokemon with guns, man. Well, I mean, if we really want to talk about alternate Pokemon, Cassette Beast is out there.
Nah, man. Fossil Fighters.
Fossil Fighters.
That's what the fucking kings play.
Sorry, guys. I'm into Dinosaur King.
Exactly.
God,
the true Chads played Fossil Fighters and then made out with that alien bitch at the end of the game. Right?
I've never played Fossil Fighters. I don't know
you
what
missed
you're
out,
talking about.
Yeah, missed out. It was great. It's a good time. Good childhood memories of Fossil Fighters.
I'm going to try to edit that scene in. It's going to spoil Fossil Fighters for me.
You're not missing anything. It is literally the cheesiest, corniest fucking story either, but me as Donkey.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I played Pokemon Ranger, okay? I don't think it gets worse than that. I will fully admit, I played that game to impress a girl, and that was the only reason I played it. Because she's like, this is my favorite game in the world. And I'm like, okay, I will play it for you.
Oh my god, that's my favorite game too.
I didn't go that far. Oh yeah, by the way, the doctor took like chunks out of my hands, so
are you good?
I'm mummy. Oh yeah, I'm fine. I just went for the skin thing. It's cool.
Okay.
But yeah, the point is, like, with early access games, it becomes a question of how done should an early access game be before you actually put it out in the market. That's something I've had to question myself on, because I fully intend to create some kind of way to play one of my games that I'm not announcing yet early, though. I just want to know how much content should be in there before I pull that trigger. Like, with the last game I was working on, that I've delayed because of Unity bullshit, I had a plan of like where I wanted like the early access to kind of stop, or for the demo to stop, and to make room for like the early access stuff, right? But now
if you want a player perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
From early access games that I've played in the past, be it some like Valheim, V-Rising, RoboQuest, Subnautica, Ark.
Yeah, but those like Valheim and V-Rising are very poignant examples of why I'm so scared.
I'm just giving you games that I've played that were
no, but I'm saying that because like those games felt like done when I was playing them. I didn't realize they weren't done until like the end.
When it comes to Valheim, I'm a hot take. Valheim is not a good game. I'm sorry, not to me. It's not for me.
Valheim's cool. I just don't vibe with those kind of games usually, unless it's like V-Rising, which for some reason like vibed with me super hard. I found there was
too many little inconveniences in Valheim that were mechanically set. They weren't bugs. They were mechanically set, and it just pissed me off that this was the way that it was. And maybe it's changed since, but from when I reviewed it on Game Bracket, it definitely irritated me more than it made me wonder about the game. But I would say, if I were to pick up an early access game, what I would expect is at least a solid 3 to 5 hours of content with a solid premise in mind.
I suppose.
Meaning, this is how the game's going to play, and here are some potential certain ways that they could go with it. And there has to be enough variety in what I can play to see, like, to feel like, okay, this has a feeling like it can go somewhere. Be it like with RoboQuest with its weapon system.
Yeah. So notice how like most. Sorry, go ahead.
Ultra Kill with giving you basically half the first chapter as a demo. Well, if I sat down and played those things as just a player, but then again, I also review a lot of games, so there's going to be biases and things that I notice with most other people. But I would say if I have a good feeling of what a game is trying to tell me and also see the potential of where it could go, I feel like I am satisfied with an early access purchase.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's very interesting, though, because when you were talking about early access, right?
Mm-hmm.
You notice how, like, 80% of the games we've mentioned that have come out in early access are roguelites? Or roguelikes? Because it's a lot... they're very good. A lot of them are. There are some bad ones. Some bad ones I can think of on the top of my head that I won't name because, like, I don't want to punch down. But it's a lot. I feel like it's a lot easier to put something out in early access that is replayable because of the fact that like it can just be random every time, than it is to put out someone like The Forest or Ultra Kill in early access, where this is a linear game in which you're going to get from point A to point B.
The Forest, Ultra Kill, and like
even Hades, like even Hades, despite the fact that it's a roguelike, that game has like linear story elements.
It does.
That are just cut off after a certain point.
But let's take a game like The Forest and Subnautica, right? Yes, they have one linear purpose and they have one linear story, but they have the freedom of open world on their side, meaning they can add new items, they can add new mechanics, they have like a whole
not
Ultra
Kill
to work with, opposed to let's take a game like Celeste, right? It's a platformer. What are you going to do? Add more levels, but then you're spoiling your game. So if you have the roguelikes have the freedom of replayability. Other games like The Forest and Subnautica have the freedom of open, ever-changing world. You know, slap in a new monster, put in a new vehicle, put in a new crafting mechanic. It's something different that changes the game. If you have something like Ultra Kill or a 2D platformer like Celeste, you basically either add in a new gun, I guess. A gun or utility. I could see that being a thing for Ultra Kill. Or you just keep spoiling your game with more levels.
Yeah, I can understand.
Because the game I've actually started learning Godot, and
Godot.
Because I want to make the game I told you about.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit. No spoilers. Don't want to break the friend DA.
Thank you. But I don't think that game would ever be early access. The most I could do is maybe a demo that I could give feedback from.
And that's the thing.
And even then, like, where do you cut that off? Right?
Yeah,
I don't know how big this game's going to be. It's still a concept. I'm still learning how to make my funny little character move across the screen.
That's the thing. I think what you essentially need to have when you're releasing an early access game is something you could almost call version 1. And hear me out. Like, I'm not saying, like, your game should be 1.0 before you release it. It should be the full game. I'm saying,
have you
like,
not played Minecraft?
it should be enough that you feel like you have, like, that, like, a good, nearly full experience from the get-go. As I said, Ultra Kill had its first act done. And if it was just that first act, it would have been a very good, like, part of, just part of, like, first-person shooter. It would have been, like, it would still been better than most first-person shooters I had played up to that point. And we talk about Hades 1, like, even in this like least complete kind of fracked up state, like, it was still a really good feeling roguelike that you could play for a while and get a bunch of character moments, content, new stuff out of. And it's not an end-all be-all. Like, not every game needs to have an early access version. Like, I mean, we, like, in the same month, in the same week, we had I think the same day, we had 2 really high-quality indie games come out that had no real early access at all. Because Animal Well and Crow Country both came out the same day. Didn't really have any, like, Crow Country had a demo, but, like, it didn't really have, like, an actual early access period. You just kind of bought it when it was full, and they're incredible from start to finish. But it really depends on the kind of.
Had funding from Big Mode.
It did have funding from Big Mode. Yes, that is correct. Big Mode, video game Donkey.
More props to you, Donkey. Thank you for putting faith in that man who made Animal Well, because goddamn, it's a fucking incredible game. I get the Elden Ring wonder from that game. Not in the sense of like, oh, this boss is gonna stuff my ass. It's like, goddamn, there's more. Like, it just keeps going.
I've struggled to describe this game to people who are not familiar, and the only way I can describe it is it's a Metroid game without combat.
It kind of is. Yeah. The most you can do combat-wise is just throw your items at it. But even then,
hope it goes away.
It's either gonna stun it or just it's just gonna stun it.
So when I think there's like a kind of unspoken contract between the player and the dev when you're dealing with the early access game, right? You know that what you're playing is unfinished, but you'd like to know that at some point your money is going to be worth it. And that is something I can appreciate about an early access game, just telling you it's early access, because I'd rather you be honest with me than tell me I'm buying a full game when it's not done.
Yeah.
Let's talk about No Man's Sky, shall we?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh boy.
The age-old game.
So
Sky.
You don't.
I was one of those boys on Christmas morning.
I was there in the trenches.
Unboxing my new spaceship game. To find out that all I have is a shitty little laser. 3 elements to collect.
Oxygen low.
Heat.
Life
rising.
support low.
It's so goddamn annoying. And then when I finally got to space, I just saw copy-pasted planets with different colors.
So No Man's Sky has been this example of the ingoodening of a bad game.
It is a redemption story for the ages, I will tell you that. God.
And everyone took the wrong lesson from it. Because
Cyberpunk's a thing.
Cyberpunk's a thing, yeah.
Same story, different game.
Like, No Man's Sky was the result of a lot of, what's the word, exaggeration. I don't think for a second that Sean Murray is this massive egotistical liar who is just constantly just saying things that he doesn't actually intend to do. I don't think he's Todd Howard. I don't think he's Peter Molyneux. I think he legitimately does want things, but he's not a good media person. And he said that himself. Like, that's just not just me with conjecture. That's him saying that himself. Has said, like, he was not prepared for this. And so, as a result, you got, like, a lot of misconceptions, right?
Mm.
But that game also came out way too soon, even without those misconceptions.
Now, I'm
they
kinda behind
needed
on
more
the
time
media
in the
coverage
oven.
because I was just like a solid hater at the time. This was before I really got into like examining video games. As, like,
I've been following this industry, maybe like I've been following it closely, maybe since I was like 12 years old. Like, I would always read my dad's Game Informer. I would go on like IGN when on my dad's computer. I would like follow this thing like a hawk, right?
I had Game Informer, and I played a ton of video games, but my perception of them didn't really change until I started watching like The Completionist or Donkey reviewing games, or Josh Strife Hayes.
Yeah.
Very talented reviewers. And they even inspired me to start making my own video game reviews, which is where I actually really fell in love with making content rather than making like, oh, I want to be the next Vanoss crew, and like back in the day. Just Halo
like,
hide and seek shit. And
it's
it
just
was fun.
It's always cool when like someone out there put in so much passion that it influences you to like want to do the same.
Absolutely,
which is just awesome. I think I shout like my biggest influences when it comes to like my work are the members of the Super Best Friends back when they were a thing. Now it's Wooly Versus and Pat Stares At, who just like always talk about that cool shit I love, and sometimes point out things I never even realized that were going on in the background in the games. I'm like, oh, you know, that's really cool. People like Martin Cito or Maxor, the Super Eye Patch Wolf, Mr. Clumps, people like that who like dissect the things they love, like down to their base components and talk about them in like high detail. I love that shit. That's the kind of thing that make me when I'm and even Donkey. We talked about Donkey.
Yeah.
I don't think Donkey is always on point. I disagree with him a lot, but when one of his videos, especially his video about difficulty in video games, I think hit home for me because it made me realize like, yeah, this isn't a catch-all experience. Not everyone's going to take difficulty the same. However, there's a kind of beauty in playing a game like Mario Sunshine or Dark Souls in which everyone is experiencing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that difficulty is universal. And there's a beauty in that. It can be inaccessible sometimes, but it's also a journey that everyone takes together. There is no question of equality. It's like, no, we're all taking this journey up together. We're all on equal footing. There's a beauty in that.
One of the first games that ever stumped me due to a difficulty spike was Kingdom Hearts 2.
Sorry, go ahead.
It literally stopped me from playing like the game. It was the boss that did the music notes made out of water. I don't know what it was. I could not beat that boss for the longest fucking time, and I mean years. In Kingdom Hearts 2, despite my hatred for the franchise, I love Kingdom Hearts 2. I think that game plays super well. It's really fun. Its level design is another thing, but the way you can just move Sora via transformations and like all the cool combo shit you can do, and looking at it now, the boss fights are actually really fucking good, especially the secret ones. But for some reason, when I was a kid, I could not beat that fucking water note guy.
Yeah, when I was out there,
literally kept me from beating the game till I turned like 16 and picked it up again.
When I was out in the streets, I was yelling, "Yo, fuck Kingdom Hearts!" I was always saying under my breath, except Kingdom Hearts 2, final mix.
Basically. That's still me to this day.
Yeah. I've never played Kingdom Hearts 2, but I've heard it's like the best one.
It is the best one.
From what I can understand, everything I've seen of it is like, yeah, no, this is the best one.
Like every time I talk about my hatred of Kingdom Hearts, it's like, okay, how many games did you play? But I'm like, all of them.
Boy, I sure do hope I don't have a rock fall on my head.
Anyway, and then Goofy fucking dies.
Goofy dies. That's the end of the game. Goofy
died.
I can't believe Goofy died and he's never coming back.
He comes back like 10 minutes later.
I know. Do you remember the episode of Smiling Friends where Charlie dies?
Yes.
You know what the title
I want to talk about it. I saw the devil.
You know what the title of that episode was?
What?
The title of that episode is the episode where Charlie dies and he never comes back.
Isn't it now just Charlie Goes to Hell or something?
They might have changed it, but like that was the funniest title in the world to me. It was the fact that it was called that. Anyway, but yeah, back on topic. You see this, like, early access is still a thing, even if AAA devs are not going to admit to it, because this is caused to do something different, right? When indie dev is putting their thing on early access, it is usually, and I'm gonna like put a lot of good faith in, right? It is usually because extra funding is required to finish up what they have. But they want to put out something to show their proof of concept, to get word of mouth out there, because people talking about your game sells way more than like some stupid Twitter ad, right?
Yeah.
Getting a following is huge, especially early on, because then more people are like hyped about changes and they're starting to talk about it every time it changes. Whenever an Ultra Kill update comes out, my entire feed is just Ultra Kill. Like a ton of people just talk about Ultra Kill for a good reason. It's incredible.
So what do you feel
but
of?
I'm getting there.
I'm gonna ask you like a follow-up question that kind of relates to this.
I'm gonna get to there though, because I have a point I wanted to make in a second.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and finish your my bad.
So that's like a huge deal. No, you're good. It's a huge deal to be able to get that funding and to put out that word of mouth, and also just get some feedback, because a lot of indie devs aren't able to hire like QA teams or massive teams to like play test their game and give them feedback on what they like or don't like. Maybe the developer has some freak sense of wanting that maybe just doesn't gel with most people, and you can choose whether to keep that or not. It doesn't matter. Like that, they'll figure that out when they get there. When it comes to games that are released way too soon in the AAA space, like your Cyberpunks, your No Man's Skies, your any Ubisoft game.
I have such a fucking bone to pick with Ubisoft.
The next episode's gonna be called the one where we yell about Ubisoft for an hour and 30 minutes. It's gonna be
Ubisoft.
It's gonna be a 3-hour episode.
Ubisoft.
Or if we really want to talk about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, the newest one. Bob, that was after Bobby left, man. As much as I wish I could blame him for this, I don't think we can. That's it
all started with that fucking horse in Oblivion.
Horse.
That fucking set of horse armor.
Yeah,
set in the chain, all the events that are essentially all the goddamn problems.
What a piece of shit, and he's still making money. Usually when it comes to AAA games that are releasing in a what I would call unofficial early access, I would say that is dishonest and is also due to shareholders. And you see this a lot, right? You see the clash of the artist and the business. like I have no doubt that like Sean Murray wanted to release No Man's Sky in the best state it could possibly be.
Yeah.
But the game was shown off years ago, and you've had nothing new to show for it.
You know what's
and we need to put out the big PlayStation banner with the big game on there. It doesn't matter if it's not done; just ship it out. It's stuff like that. Like Cyberpunk, I have no doubt 99% of the choices that were made that led to like bad things in Cyberpunk.
Here's the thing, everyone knew it too.
We're due to corporate meddling.
The thing with the difference between the No Man's Sky reception and the Cyberpunk reception was like everyone knew that this game was shelled out purely for sales, and not enough time was given to it. Like No Man's Sky, I feel like everybody was just like, he lied.
And I gotta give Sean Murray his credit. I gotta give him credit where credit's due. He didn't say anything. He put his nose to the grindstone with his team. Like his whole. I'm not gonna give all this to Sean Murray because Sean Murray's not the only person who works at Hello Games. And I will
probably team at Hello Games. The way
I can believe he's not even the best person at Hello Games. I'll be real. He's just the face.
Yeah.
Right. So when I say Sean Murray, I apologize if I apply everything to him. It should not be attributed to him. You ever see that quote? That's like it's from I forgot who it was. I forgot his name. Shit, it's someone actually like super important. Who I gotta look this up. Hold on.
But anyway, like while you look that up, like, the reception between the two is vastly different.
Yeah. Okay. I found it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I found the quote. The quote was, I think too many people in the games industry too many people in the games journalism industry and too many fans attribute all like the success of a game to one person. I think that should stop. Quoted from Warren Spector, the sole creator of Deus Ex. It literally says that in the magazine where it's quoted is so funny. Because like you're missing the point.
That is true. Very true.
Oh, but yeah, like okay, but yeah, no, they put the nose to the grindstone and they actually put out something that's not as good as I would have hoped it was. But I still think, like, I'm not a big fan of modern No Man's Sky. It just doesn't gel with me. It's one of those Valheim things. It's like it's cool. Yeah. I'm glad it's not good now.
Not for me.
It's not my cup of tea. It's not my breadbasket.
I will definitely give the very talented developers at Hello Games like the credit where credit is due. You guys took a shitty situation and completely redeemed yourselves in the eyes of your community, which is not easy. So,
but like I've heard this like really stupid argument that's like, well, early access, the indie devs always like put their games in early access all the time. This is basically just early access. Why are you so mad about it? It's like
because they didn't charge me an arm and a fucking leg for it.
Well, also it's dishonest.
And dishonesty.
Like when I buy an early access game, you know how I know it's an early access game? Because it says early access on it front store. It tells you that ahead of time. It tells you this is not finished. Beware. You are essentially buying half of a pizza, and you will get the second half later. Maybe even more than that second half. Sometimes you get less than that second half. It's a risk. It's a gamble. But most of all, it's an investment. An investment if you think this idea is good, if you think the devs are trustworthy, if you think it would be worth your time, even if you never got that second half of the pizza. That's something you always got to factor in.
Let me...
Yeah, you had a question earlier.
Let me introduce the game that recently re-released, good old Multiverses.
Oh, do you mean that game that they stole from the players who paid money for it?
Yep. And now it's back out, and it seems like everyone forgot.
Hey, hot take. It shouldn't have come out yet. It should have stayed. It should have stayed in the kitchen a little while longer. I haven't played
it again since its re-release.
Dude. Yeah, have you followed it? Have you followed that re-release?
Yeah, I've followed it.
Have you seen the Iron Giant Infinite grab?
Yes.
Did you hear about that guy who was in the middle of a tournament and they literally banned the character in the middle of the tournament? Like, not the tournament banned it. Like, they pulled it from the game in the middle of the tournament.
Oh, my God. That's so funny.
Dude, multiverse.
I also see the shit that they're doing with LeBron James.
Oh man.
It's
What'd they do with LeBron?
Goddamn funny.
What, I'm a LeBron man in multiverses. What'd they do to my boy?
They just keep not like what I saw. Like the basketball juggles.
Oh, are they better or worse?
They're better.
Oh.
It's almost an infinite at this point.
Go on and slam. Welcome to the jam.
Basically.
Oh yes.
But that's not the point. The fact is that like a ton of people put a shit ton of money into this game and then took all of that content away and didn't give it back.
It's like it's early access. Have fun.
I don't give a fuck if it was a free
and then
install. It's like.
Or it was open beta, rather, is what they said. Open beta.
But why would you put microtransactions in a fucking beta?
Because people will pay for them, obviously. I'm legitimately convinced the only reason that game came out when it did is because like people were getting angry and threatening to sue. I legitimately believe that.
Yeah.
I could be an idiot. I don't work at WB. I don't know anyone who does. I have no inclination to knowing if this is true. This is just something I feel like is the case. So take it with less than a grain of salt. Maybe a can of Walmart brand Twist Up. It's like Sprite for white trash.
Nice.
My can is full of this stuff. My trash can is so full of this stuff. It's bad. I have a problem.
I can't drink soda, man.
And you're better off for it.
I only drink soda if there's liquor in it.
There's a reason that
I never drink soda.
There's a reason that you look like you have like the chiseled face of a Greek Adonis, and I look like a fertility statue. Specifically, the one with the massive boobs.
Yeah, but I got this extra skin chilling out.
Oh, buddy, why do you think I have the beard? It's to hide that skin.
I had to get the Chad chin because I can't grow a fucking beard.
Yeah. Well, you got the Chad chin though. And also, you look amazing, honey. Absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you, doll.
But yeah, the basic kind of like there really is no black and white answer. I feel like too. Like we talked about like what we feel is like how much game you should have before you go into early access. But realistically, if we're not like shooting shit or like joking around, I do think like there really isn't a concrete answer to that.
It's a gray area.
Yeah, it's really much a gray area.
It's always going to be a gray area, unless you're in the AAA scene. Fuck.
And it really yeah.
The devs, but fuck the corporation.
Yeah, if you have
pieces of shit and quit fucking up the goddamn games industry.
I really wish the business side of the video games industry didn't interfere with the art side of the video games industry. I wish Kojima wasn't the only AAA dev allowed to make like cool shit.
I'd have to give it to Nintendo as well.
Even then, like Nintendo still has like some corporate bullshit. Like you've seen, like Chibi Robo is sent to die.
It's not in this. That's a whole different bag of worms. Nintendo is so weird, but at least at their core philosophy is to make a good game.
Like Nintendo is significantly less shitty than Microsoft and Activision.
Absolutely.
I will not say they're free from being called a bit shitty sometimes.
Oh, no. God.
Yeah.
Nintendo has this weird, like, hex over their player base.
Yeah.
Meaning for everything that they fuck up, we bitch at them for like a month, and then we forget it all happens the next time something great comes out. I remember I put out exactly.
What I have right here in my hands is a copy of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, or Paper Mario RPG, on the Nintendo GameCube. It is a
Japanese copy.
It is a Japanese copy. It has the official booklet and the game inside. This. Where is it? Where'd it go?
You get the hard copy? Yeah, I want to get the hard copy of that game too.
This is a box copy of the Nintendo Switch version of the same game. If Nintendo had their way and they saw me holding this, they would slap it out of my hand, crush it under their boot, and then they would snap my neck so I could never talk about the GameCube version.
Mm-hmm. Because
Nintendo is the most anti-consumer when it comes to preservation of old titles.
Absolutely.
I can tell you right now, at least
Just
Paper
look at the
Mario-
Pokemon franchise. If you don't even have to be that well educated into it, just look at the Pokemon franchise.
At least Paper Mario got a re-release. No one's playing Chibi Robo.
I haven't played Chibi Robo.
It's so good.
I want to play Chibi Robo.
There will
there's
never
no
be
legal
another
way for me to
Wario
get it.
World. That's because Nintendo won't care about old games.
Wario
Unless they can sell it to you for $60.
It's really fucking good.
I know.
Why do you hate Wario?
Yeah. I'm. By the way, fun fact: Vimslayer they had to remove like a shit ton of Nintendo games because Nintendo took class action against Vimslayer, a site that used to host a bunch of ROMs purely for preservation purposes.
But guys, look at the shiny new Paper Mario re-release. It's so good.
It's so good though.
Nintendo's
It's so
the
good.
best.
It's such a good remake
See?
though. Oh
You
my
see?
god.
You see? It's like, fuck you, Nintendo. You guys suck. Oh my god, I love Zelda. Yes,
Shigeru-
you guys are so good.
Shigeru Miyamoto could have come to my house, broke every car window on my car, kicked my cat, punched me in the balls multiple times, and decapitated my brother, and I would probably still have bought that Thousand Year Door remake.
Exactly.
I am the problem. I'm willing to
They-
admit. But Thousand Year Door is so good,
they
though.
are an evil, manipulative, toxic girlfriend that no one can get away from.
It's like, oh, I hate Nintendo so much. Oh, yeah.
It's so bad. We're the
Gal
fucking
Guardian
problem.
Demon Perch.
We're the fucking problem. And we can't hold our ground long enough when it comes to Nintendo. And the sad thing about it is, that's the least of our concerns. We can't hold our ground when it comes to fucking Ubisoft as well. We have severely derailed.
Oh,
from
I
early
can, but
access.
that's just because I don't like anything Ubisoft puts out.
Exactly.
Like,
but
at least
they
I
have
can
already-
play Shin Megami Tensei 5 and Super Mario Party Superstars on the Switch.
better. Yeah.
It's very
But
easy to
it
boycott
is
something when you
confirmed
don't
that
like it.
more $110 versions of Assassin's Creed Shadow sold more than $70 versions of.
There are
this
so
game.
many Switch games on my floor right now.
Oh, man.
I forgot.
I
I
respect.
I have a
respect
copy.
the bit, but you need.
I have a copy of Starlink Battle for Atlas. It's an Ubisoft game. I forgot it was Ubisoft. Christ.
Okay, all of us
We've
just
gone-
need to take a
we've
look
gone
in the mirror.
so
and
far
just
off the
be like,
rails.
We can't let them keep doing this. This is probably the most we've ever derailed, but honestly, I think this this episode has stayed on topic longer than any of the other ones. This is the build-up, all right?
Oh yeah.
This is
So basically
held
that
it in for too long, and now it's
that
exploding.
tangent was to say I very much while I don't love like early access being used to essentially hawk off games that might never get finished or cheap product that you can just negate all criticism by being like it's early access, it's not even done yet. When that's not how that should work. If anything,
I hate
your
how
criticism
day
is
one
way
patches
more
are the
valid.
norm.
Your criticism is very valid in early access because that criticism can go towards changing the game for the better once it's fully released. Granted, don't be an asshole. But your criticisms should also be listened to, especially in this early access phase where now your money and your quality of your money
time
is
and your
being
money are
based
now
on how much
involved
they
in
listen to what the community at large wants. And now granted, not every idea is good. The mass populace can be
No.
stupid sometimes, but it is something to take into account. And AAA companies that have this kind of funding are not immune from criticism just because No Man's Sky ended up being good 4 years later. I have
Same
to
with
pick up
Cyberpunk.
all this shit now. There's so much on my floor.
Yeah,
There's a cat
it was
on my
funny
bed.
though.
That's not my cat.
Why is he there then?
She likes it in here. I keep the air low.
Okay. Shelly's just hanging out underneath the desk.
Far off the rails. Holy shit. Donkey
It's all
Kong
good.
Jungle Beat on the GameCube.
Hell yeah!
I don't even have the bongos.
Hey Nintendo, where's my Donkey Kong Jungle?
I am a
Beat remake?
slut for
In fact,
Nintendo.
where the
I don't
fuck
even
is Donkey
care.
Kong?
What do you mean?
Like, where's Donkey Kong?
Like
I'm not
physically?
eating Mario. No, like Why is there no new Donkey Kong game?
They released Donkey Kong Country
Versus Mario.
Returns
On Switch?
The Arctic, yeah, the Wii U one they
Tropical
re-released
Freeze?
with more levels and shit.
I want new Donkey Kong.
No, yeah, I think
new
everyone
monkey.
would prefer a new thing over old thing unless they're Paper Mario fans, and they're correct in not wanting new thing because new things sucks usually.
Did you play the new Paper Mario game?
Unfortunately.
Damn.
Wait, are we talking Thousand Year Door or are we talking like Origami King?
Origami King.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Damn. That bad?
I love RPGs that hate you if you like RPGs. I love a battle system that's like, you got to interact in Thousand Year Door's battle system, so what if we made ours shitty and made you have to do like shitty little puzzles every time that weren't fun and just made fights last artificially longer? Buddy, if I wanted that, I'd be playing Yiik. Because at least I can laugh at Yiik. At least I can touch my supple boy lips to Rory's in Yiik.
I love Yiik. I love Yiik so much.
Yiik is the room of video games. I love it.
It really is. I love Yiik for all the wrong reasons. I love it because it's so fucking bad.
And you know what? I gotta hand it to the main dev.
Don't you dare show me a physical copy of Yiik.
No, of course not!
Oh god, I
course
dead
not.
ass thought that was about
Come
to happen.
on.
I'm like, there's no way. I'm in an episode of the fucking Twilight Zone if if that was about to happen. Oh my god.
I do know a guy. I used to live with a guy who had a physical copy of the Yiik soundtrack on vinyl.
It got that far?
Oh yeah! Dude, Yiik has a free DLC out right now. It's standalone. It's a full. They're making a sequel probably.
Oh yes. I hate so much. I hate it and love it so much.
I'm yeeking out right now.
Top 10 best video game characters of all time.
Number 1, Alex Yiik. Number 2, Alex Yiik. Number 3, Alex Yiik. Number 4, Rory. Number 5, Alex Yiik.
Number 6, Rory's mother, Leg.
Leg.
Fuck Bella though. God damn, I hated Bella.
The problem is Vella's right. Every time she's been right. Like, don't get me wrong, Vella's not very fun to talk to, but she's usually everything she says about Alex is right.
Yeah. Oh, she puts Alex in her. Why are we getting into a conversation?
This is now a Yiik cast.
Yiik.
We're now called Yeeks.
Yeeks. I really thought it was an artistic taste how they make you fight the rat from Ninja Turtles in the sewer level. Also, can we talk about how the guy with the camera just fell off about a third of the way through the game?
Nobody cares about your dead sister. We almost died ourselves.
Based.
I just realized I kind of look like Alex Yiik, and I'm not happy about that.
No, you're not ginger enough.
I'm taking off the glasses.
You don't
Stolen
have your-
Valor. Stolen Valor, I can see just fine. I just don't want to hurt my supple boy eyes. Oh, yeah.
Yiik is like an early access game, though. Didn't they release that in early access and they kept changing it?
Yiik has been redone like 3 times, and I think this DLC is supposed to be the 4th.
Oh, no.
Dude, that golden alpaca scene, man.
Oh, it's so great.
Version 1 is so good, and every other one is trying to make it better, and it somehow makes it less interesting.
It does.
Because when the golden alpaca starts actually speaking full sentences, and there's a whole dramatic cutscene for him, it's this is a lot less psychotic than the idea.
This used to be bad because it was funny. Now it's just bad because it's bad.
So the original golden alpaca scene's stupid, but there's almost
it.
a kind of cruel comedy to it.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's we're talking and coming around to the fact that Rory's... Spoilers for Yiik, by the way. But yeah, Rory's sister killed herself. And it's a big bad thing. And it's this really sad moment that everyone's being really mean to him because he nearly led them to their deaths. And then as they're having this sad moment, the golden alpaca just shows up, and it's this ridiculous goof-ass alpaca who's going like, lemonade, as he's doing attacks on you. Lemonade. And it's almost it's cruel, is what it is, because basically taking your whole moment...
It's funny for all the wrong reasons.
No, but here's the thing.
So like,
I actually do think that is one of the best written parts of that game.
Yeah.
Legitimately, because like in that moment, it is showing the cruel reality of the fact that the universe and the multiverse don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you can be having like the saddest moment of your life, and the most ridiculous shit will still come in and try to kill you. And that is like legitimately like an unintentional art piece by that guy. I think that's unintentionally the most interesting part of that game. And the fact that they removed it shows that he has no actual confidence in his work.
Unfortunately.
That is to say, I do love Yiik.
I love Yiik.
Ironically, mainly. I admire that guy's passion into putting
it is a definition of a cult classic. Like,
it does feel like he's embarrassed of it.
Dude, at this point, don't be embarrassed. You truly made one of the most interesting fucking case studies in video games of all time. And yes, we all kind of shit on it, but that's kind of like that's kind of like why people like it so much, because it's so fun to just like see what kind of stupid shit you're gonna do.
Do you know how much money that game made? That game made $1 billion.
Oh my god. It made Alex go, oh! We made $1 billion, Rory. Oh my god, Alex.
I looked at my bank account. There were $1 billion in there.
Jesus Christ. It's so fucking funny.
I love Yiik.
It's so funny.
I like how we're just gonna call this episode the Early Access Yiik Syndrome.
Early access Yiik syndrome. Yeah, Yiik actually does kind of fit into the topic. We're not talking about.
Was Yiik ever early access? I thought it was just like a Patreon thing.
I don't know. I only picked up on it when Oni Plays like started going.
Oh, I knew about it a while ago. I watched Running Shine's video on it, which is great. Highly recommend it. So I got to see that game because when Oni played it, like that was like after a few updates, that's when it got like its first like kind of full No Man's Sky rebooting.
Yeah.
I got to see it in like 1.0, or at least close enough to 1.0 that like the golden alpaca scene was untouched.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so fascinating.
It is.
Like that game is I love that game for the same reason I love Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Friday the 13th is trash. Like there are 2 movies out of those 10 movies I would say are good, and there's 6 of those movies I enjoy.
Yeah. And back on like the topic of
it's a masterclass though. It's a masterclass in like this is how like you shouldn't do this. Like it's very clearly like a passion project, and I appreciate that. This is not how you should do this. You should take lessons from this. There is a full study to be done about Yiik. And this is not to say it has no value because of that. It has plenty of value. I do think Yiik is like worth at least experiencing.
It is.
I don't know if I'd say it's worth your money, but I would say it is. Like I'm not saying go pirate it. It's worth an on sale. Not what I would do. Sure. I think if you really want to play it, go play it. It's cheap. Like if I look right now,
I think it's like $20.
Yeah, it's like $20. It's $20 for like a full ass RPG. Even if it's not a very good RPG.
Honestly, I think $20 is a pretty good price for it.
I think $20 is a very
for what you get out of it. Let's point out the positives of it. Like it's a full world. Like everything's there. It's got an interesting travel systems. It's got way more voice acting than I ever thought it would have.
Yeah, by Chris Neosi.
Honestly, I think the voice acting being mid adds to the charm.
Is Alex Yiik. I feel bad for the guy who played Rory. Apparently, the guy who played Rory was not a voice actor, but like was basically guilted into playing the character.
And yet he's like one of the best fucking.
I love Rory. Rory's such a piece of shit. I love him.
Oh my god,
Rory! Oh!
By the way, he was definitely. I don't think they altered his design enough because you can still very clearly see that his hair used to be his hood. Of the jacket.
Yeah. I always figured that was like on purpose though. Like I figured that was just like a design choice.
It bugged me.
No,
It always bugged me because every time I saw it, I was like, oh, his hood's up. No, that's his hair. It's
yeah. Rory is an interesting character. But yeah, good thing number 2, Alex Yiik is in it. Good thing number 3, Alex Yiik is in it. Good thing number 4, Alex Yiik is in it. Good thing number 5, you can kiss Rory. Good thing number 6, that Alex Yiik is in it. Like, yeah, no, like as like, this is not to be like a Yeek shit fest. Like, I genuinely think that is a good study for anyone who wants to make games, because I don't think Yeek is inherently awful. No. I would rather play a bad game with soul than a soulless good game. Exactly. I would rather play the full game of Yeek twice than play
We've literally talked about Yeek for like a solid 20 minutes.
Yeah, this is the Yeek cast, baby. This is the Yeek cast. We're Yeeks. You want to go back to the geeks, though?
I guess.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up one. I wanted to purposely derail the podcast one time because of a fact I learned about. So I've been watching a lot of highlights from Pirate Software.
Yeah, I've been recommended them.
With Thor. And he brought up something to me about the game development industry that I found to be the most hilarious goddamn thing ever.
Yeah.
And it's TTP.
Time to play?
No. It is an actual documented stat. And it's the whole concept of it is if you give the players freedom, they're going to draw a dick. It's time to penis. That is the fucking thing. It's like, what is the time from when you give players freedom from when the first dick gets drawn in your game?
It's very real. It is very real.
And it is. I heard that, like, that is the funniest goddamn thing ever.
That's actually kind of related. It's something related. It's something I just thought was something related. Quick bit. You ever played Duke Nukem Forever?
I've seen plenty of gameplay of it, but no, I have never partaken in it.
The first thing you can do in the game after you get out of the bathroom is there's like a board in which a soldier is giving his plan on this like marker erase board, and you can pick up a marker and start drawing something. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to just draw a penis because I thought that'd be too easy. So what I did is I put on a Bob Ross painting tutorial and I tried to follow it using the in-game drawing system.
How did it come out?
Terribly.
Like
just like Duke Nukem Forever. Hey.
Yeah. Honestly, what a way to curve the metric. Good job. That's pretty funny, actually. Oh.
Yeah. I wish I streamed it. Damn. All this. Your back's really hurting from carrying this podcast on your shoulders.
Nah, man. I love your antics. I think it brings a good vibe.
I'm just a little more demented than most. One look into my sick, twisted mind would break the heart of a normal person. That's why I believe in a society for the crazy. I'm sorry, I can't do this.
Unlike Alex Yeek, I wouldn't let Rory get away. Those
his sweet supple boy lips will touch mine. But yeah, I said sweet supple boy blank a few too many times this episode.
Maybe bleep that out.
I'm just gonna call this episode "Sweet Supple Early Access Yeek Edition."
I'm the one that's gonna upload it.
Yeah, but you should call it that. All right.
Okay.
But yeah.
Any final thoughts on early access?
Early access is an incredible tool for people who are working with a very limited funding for video games. People who are in the indie scene, especially, you can use this to gain funding as well as gain interest and notoriety in the space. Having this kind of funding in the middle of development means you can add more features before the game's done, maybe change things around to suit player interest better. I think there is a place for that kind of thing in the AAA space. There is a case for playing a game before it's ready to give your feedback on it and have them curb things. But I think nowadays you can get that done with a closed beta for your AAA games or an open beta. And I don't think that... I think that there's a place for like that kind of early access in general. I think it's really dishonest when a AAA studio or a studio that has the capital to put this forward is just doing it for either extra money or to basically just gauge interest, see they even should continue developing it, when in reality, like, you probably already have something to put out. It's just you're just trying to suck a little more out there, and that's the problem. Is the business side of things, especially like you see this with a lot of AAA. The one bit like there's the business suit man. He is our new character, Business Suit Man, who only cares about watching number go up.
Mm-hmm.
And when people buy, number go up, so make more buy. People already buy games, sell them second part of game, but make it
fucking
smaller,
idiots.
so I don't have to put so number don't go down.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like what happened with the Baldur's Gate franchise. Now that like it succeeded so well, they're like, yes, let's go ahead and start doing Baldur's Gate 4. And then Larian was just like, yeah, we don't want to make that. We don't want to do this anymore.
I can't believe Larian made Baldur's Gate 3 just so that they can make Divinity Original Sin 3. Dude, that next game, that next Divinity is going to be so sick. Oh my god.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be so good.
It's going to be good. All right.
But yeah.
My closing thoughts.
That's my closing thoughts.
Yeah. So, I might be a little blunt at this, and but I'm going purely off of player perspective. My knowledge in game development is very limited, and I'm just starting to learn. But I agree with you. Early access is a wonderful tool for indie developers, and it is shown in multiple cases that it is very beneficial to a game's life, its success, and its overall final product. There are a lot of good examples of indie games that had early access that succeeded. We've talked about a bunch of them: Subnautica, Hades, RoboQuest, fucking you name it. But the problem is with early access is that people lose attention very quickly, and unless you have a really good die-hard backing fan base, you are at risk of essentially losing all your momentum. And it sucks, but it's the reality of it. But then you hit the gray area of, I want to release content that's good, but I also want to release content at a reasonable pace to where people don't get bored of my game.
Yeah, there's a
Sometimes
reason.
Shit happens.
Yeah, there's a reason Akita puts out his content or their content out for Ultra Kill in batches, and not just like every time they have a new level, like, hey, there's a new level, and it's like, no. Give enough content that people will talk about it for a while.
Exactly. Yeah. And let's take something like a successful type story like Minecraft. All right, we all know how that game started out. Yeah. Very humble beginnings.
I think okay. I actually want to go back for a second. Well, you said that like that Shovel Knight was like one of the best examples of early access. I think Minecraft might actually be the best example of early access.
And that's a really good counterpoint, and I'll agree with you on that. But you look at Minecraft updates today compared to what they used to be. I think like the Minecraft community has put the dev team of Minecraft to shame in every single aspect, as in the mods that they create compared to the updates that Mojang, a billion-dollar company at this point, gives us, especially when they do shit like mob votes. Or I just took a look at this new update that they have out, and there's some cool things on it, but it's still like, that's it. There's plenty of shit out there that's better than this, and your community made it.
Minecraft is such an interesting game when you look at it from a development perspective, because it exploded.
Talk about the most humble beginnings to the largest success story in gaming history. It is now like the most purchased game of all time.
Notch has become one of the most successful game developers after making one game that people actually played, and it's shocking because, like, let's be real, Notch hasn't worked on this game in like what, 10 years maybe.
It's been a good bit. He stopped a little bit into 1.0, and then I think Jeb took over, and I
want to make it very clear, I think Notch is kind of an asshole. I don't very much like him as a person. I do have to respect the artistry, though, because Minecraft is very clearly a passion project that stemmed back to creation with Legos and the idea of having a whole world that was just that malleable and fun to explore and find secrets and stuff. That original artist vision is so good, and it's amazing how Microsoft has twisted it into its worst parts.
It really has. Like, the game doesn't... I still play it to this day, but even now, the game doesn't feel like... It doesn't feel the same whenever a content update gets released now. It feels like we're going to release the most bare minimum shit.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about...
When one of your most hyped additions is hanging signs,
yeah,
like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
I don't. It's weird because
give me a new goddamn dimension. Like, I know you have the funding for that. Like,
so it's weird because like I actually really appreciate when I say like twisted it into its worst parts. I'm not really talking about Minecraft base. I'm talking about like the spin-offs.
Bedrock edition
the lack of support for like the Bedrock edition. Spin-offs like. Minecraft Legends and Minecraft Story Mode are terrible.
Oh yeah, they're bad.
Like actively bad.
Didn't they just release another spin-off?
Did they? I haven't been paying attention.
I think they did. And I think it's part of it's like an arcade cabinet as well. But I played Legends, like I got it off the Game Pass, and I'm like, this is the most cut and dry, like we played Diablo for 2 minutes type game, and man, this fucking sucks.
It really feels like they were just like put a Minecraft skin on a game that has nothing to do with Minecraft. Kids will buy it. Kids will tell their moms to buy it. It's a shame. It's a real shame because there is like genuine artistry in Minecraft. Like genuine. It is a shame to see it broken down to its most cynical roots. Very similar, actually. I said earlier, Friday the 13th is kind of like that. Or a better example in this case would probably be Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Because Nightmare on Elm Street is one really interesting horror film. It's a little cheesy, doesn't really hold up all that well, but it's still really fun. Nightmare 2 is like an actual like art piece. A lot of people don't like Nightmare 2. I think it is a genuine art piece. Especially prevalent since it's Pride Month. Hey, you should go watch Nightmare 2. That movie is gay. Like very gay. I should watch that again. And 3 is just a fun little romp. But like everything after that is so cynical, and like it feels like it was made because like and you can see that with like the production. Like every one of the movies ends with a cliffhanger only because the producer was basically they need to end with a cliffhanger so we can make more movies later. Even though like 3 has an actual pretty definitive ending, they still stuck in like a last minute stinger to be like, oh, but maybe there's a 4th one. Yeah, and there was, and it was bad.
The last thought I want to drop on.
Sorry, I went off the rails on movies.
No, you're good. You're good. I completely understand how we got there. But essentially, at the end of the day, respect one another.
Yeah.
Players, respect the devs that work hard to creating this passion project for you, and provide constructive feedback.
Yeah.
Devs, respect the fact that your player base have invested their hard-earned money and their time into your game. And though not every idea they give you is the best idea, they are trying to help you.
Yeah.
And just work together. And there's so many success cases where the indie scene has proven time and time again to have to have more potential than any AAA game ever released.
At its best, early access can be a subtle handshake between the player and the developer, allowing them to both kind of experience it at roughly a very similar pace. Yeah. And basically be able to leave their feedback, see what people like, see what people don't, see what characters really stand out, and try and give them focus. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you don't want to cheapen it. That's fair. But, like, that's what it is at its best. At its worst, it is like handing your child an iPad. Like, it is just, here is a distraction, and once you're unsatisfied with it and you've burnt yourself out, that's the worst. Like,
I want to go back to playing Fortnite.
Yeah. Fun fact, another fun fact. Hey, did you know that me and my dad have, when we first saw Minecraft, we both thought this is never going to take off. This is going to die in the cradle. And that is only the second most wrong we've ever been about a video game.
What was the first one?
When we saw this game, our first thoughts were, who the hell is going to play Fortnite? I think that's a good ending point. We love you, fans.
Thank you for watching.
Do we have
we'll
fans?
See you next
Are we allowed
time.
to call them fans?
Whoever watched and enjoys this, thank you for watching.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Remember to kiss your Royer on the supple boy lips.
Kiss the homies goodnight. Bye-bye.